Hello students. So today we are going to start with next chapter. This is the first chapter in chemistry, some basic concepts of chemistry. As the name suggests, in this chapter we will discuss the basic points or basic concepts, right? They will be used again and again as we go further in chapters, right? So be careful. In this chapter, the main objective will be to understand the basic terms that you have already discussed in your previous classes in 8th, 9th, right, or 10th. That some questions they arise in our mind. For example, how the digestion of food, or how do we get energy when we eat food, right? How medicine they cure diseases, how the vehicles they run on fuel. So these all questions they came in our mind. It's obvious. And the solution for all these questions is the term chemistry. What is chemistry? As per Roald Hoffmann, chemistry is the science of molecules and their transformations. It is the science not so much of the 100 elements, but of the infinite varieties of molecules that may be built up from them. So basically, according to him, the chemistry is very vast, right? The elements which are present in the periodic table, they tends to combine with each other, and enormous number of compounds are formed, and the study of all those compounds is included in chemistry. So basically, how to define chemistry? So chemistry is the branch of science that deals with the study of composition of matter, structure of matter, properties of matter, and their interlinked character. So all this is covered in chemistry, right? Now what is this matter? So matter is defined as something which occupies space and have mass. That is called matter, right? And it includes everything, even which we can't see, that is air is also matter. We will discuss in detail about this matter, or we will classify this. Before we go into the classification of matter, what is the importance of chemistry in our daily life, right? Generally, the students, they used to ask the question that why do we study these electron protons, right? What's their use? So we will go into the application or uses of chemistry. How important is chemistry in our daily life? As you can see, the core is chemistry and how it is related, interlinked with other branches of science. Pharmaceutical, all pharmaceutical products, they involve chemistry. Forensics, meteorology, then environmental science, all biotechnology, mineralogy, nutrition, biochemistry, agriculture, medicine, toxicology. So every branch is related with chemistry. All the branches, they depend on chemistry. Okay. Then it also helps in identifying the weather patterns in the manufacture of fertilizers, in the manufacture of alkalis, acids, salts, dye products, polymers. Everywhere chemistry is used. Drugs, medicines that we call soaps, detergents, metals, alloys, inorganic and organic chemicals, even in food processing, then healthcare products and other products, cosmetics, etc. Everywhere this chemistry is used. So if you look around you, you will find in most or in all the species, whatever you could see, you will come to know that chemistry is involved. Chemistry helps in the production of superconducting ceramics, in conducting polymers, optical fibers, miniature solid state devices. Everywhere chemistry is used, right? Then chemistry can also help in the synthesis of safer alternatives for chlorofluorocarbons. Okay. It also helps understand use of enzymes for large scale production of chemicals. So these are the important aspects of chemistry, or we can say that where chemistry or how chemistry is useful in our daily life, right? Now to begin with, our main focus will be on matter, because chemistry begins with matter. So we will go through classification of matter, and matter is classified as physical classification and chemical classification. Physically, we can classify it as solid, liquid and gases, and I think everybody is clear about this: solid, liquid and gases. Whereas chemical classification, that covers pure substances and mixtures, right? Then pure substances are further classified as elements, compounds, and elements as metals, non-metals and metalloids, whereas compounds are inorganic and organic. In the same manner, mixture are homogeneous and heterogeneous. So we will classify matter one by one in these two classifications, physical and chemical classifications. Physical classification of matter. So under this, matter can be classified as solid, liquid and gas. As you can see in this picture, the arrangement of on the basis of arrangement of particles, we can distinguish between the three states of matter. When the constituent particles are closely arranged, that is, they have minimum intermolecular space or interatomic space between them, such a state is called as solid state. And due to close arrangement, this will give them definite shape and they will have definite mass. So what is solid state? It is a state of matter which have definite shape as well as definite mass, that is called as solid. Okay. Then you can see the difference from first picture to the second one, that the constituent particles, now they are separating from each other. So when that intermolecular space it increases between the constituent particles, so the state tends to change. From solid it becomes liquid state. So liquid state is a state of matter in which the constituent particles, they do not have definite shape but they have definite volume, right? So that state is called as liquid state. Okay. And then you can see the difference to the third one. When the intermolecular space goes on increasing or the interactive forces are negligible, then it's gaseous state. Hence we can classify gaseous state as the state of matter which have indefinite shape as well as indefinite volume. Okay. So that state is called as gaseous state. So basically, broadly we can classify on the particle arrangement. Okay. And these three states of matter are interconvertible. Now analyze this picture. Solid can be converted into gas. This process, I think it is clear to you, this is called as sublimation. The process of conversion of solid into its gaseous state below its melting point. So that is called as sublimation. Do remember these terms. Then if gas is converted to solid, so this process is called as reverse sublimation. In the same manner, solid is changed into liquid. This process is called melting, and when liquid is changed into solid, this process is called as freezing. Now liquid, when it is converted into gas, it is called as vaporization, and when gas get converted into liquid, so this is called as condensation. So this shows that all these three states of matter, they are interconvertible. They are interconvertible. Okay. And the temperature as well as pressure and volume, all these three factors, they are responsible for interconversion. This we will discuss in chapter number 5. I hope it is clear. So just you have to remember that the intermolecular forces intermolecular forces are responsible for the three states of matter, right?